Hey Valley Mills Christian Church, welcome to Truth Tuesday. Today we're going to look at Acts 27. And I brought this to the students at our lock-in, Acts 27. I talked about something called staying power, the power of staying and staying the course rather than just going overboard and jumping overboard. In Acts 27, we find Paul where he is about to sail in a prisoner ship towards Italy, to go to Rome. They want to go to Rome. He has appealed to Caesar. He is in chains. He has been arrested, and he would have been let go, but he appealed to Caesar. And Paul is not an expert sailor, but he knows sailing. And at this point in Acts 27, we see that they are about to hit wintertime. And wintertime means not very smooth sailing. There's going to be waves. There's going to be storms. It's not going to be the right weather. And we see in verse 11, it says, "But the centurion paid more attention to the pilot and to the owner of the ship than what Paul said. And because the harbor was not suitable to winter in, the majority decided to put out to sea from there, on the chance that somehow they could reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete facing both southwest and northwest, and spend the winter there." You see, Paul had told them, if you sail, you're going to lose ships. You're not going to make it. You're not going to have smooth sailing. It's going to end in problems. And they were at this port called Fairhaven. And apparently to the sailors, this wasn't very fair. It wasn't fair to stay in Fairhaven, whether that be because it wasn't a good place to hang out for the winter, whatever it may be. But some people translate that word not suitable into inconvenient. It was inconvenient to stay there. And I want us to compare this to our lives. How often do we think a place is not suitable or inconvenient to stay, so we jump ship and go somewhere else? We think the grass is greener on the other side when God actually wants us to stay right where He wants us. Staying power. We tend to just run away. We tend to take matters into our own hands, just like these sailors are about to do, thinking that Phoenix is going to be so much greater and so much better to spend the winter in. But yet, they end up being shipwrecked. They end up going through storms. They end up going through a really long storm where they don't see stars or the sun or the moon for many, many nights. They end up being shipwrecked and go onto the island of Malta. And sometimes this is us. God wants us to stay somewhere. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a family, maybe it's a church, maybe whatever it may be. Maybe God wants you to stay somewhere, but you try to run away. We try to be like Jonah and jump into a boat and sail as far away from God as we can. But I think there's power in staying. I think there's greatness in staying, because when you stay in God's plan, God is going to do incredible things through you. I think we need to quit looking always to somewhere that we might think will be better and realize that God has you right where He wants you. Sometimes God's going to tell you to go, but sometimes He's going to tell you to stay. And we need to be able to decipher that, and we need to be able to see that. We need to be able to see so we don't bring a calamity on us, that we don't bring a storm on us that is unnecessary, because God does not want us to go in that direction. So where do you need to stay? Maybe it's your faith. Maybe you are walking away and your faith is just not happening. You had faith, but you continually walk away from it and go into storms and go into things. Where do you need to stay? Staying power is powerful. God wants you in a certain place at a certain time so that you can glorify Him and grow His kingdom. So don't jump ship the first chance you get. Don't see the grass is greener on the other side, because it's not always true.